Welcome, everyone. This is the Masterclass. My name is Patricknazareth. I have around 30 years of teaching experience, and I'm here to help dispel your doubts, should you have any. Today, we continue with our explanation of Julius Caesar, looking specifically at Act 3, Scene 1. Let's take a look at the historical context of this date then. It is the Ides of March, 15th of March, 44 BC. It will become the most famous date in Roman history. At the time, Caesar held the title of Dictator Perpetuo. He was the perpetual dictator of Rome. This violated the way the Romans thought. A dictator was only meant to be temporary. There was a fear among senators that Caesar would grab all power to himself and become king. Where is this set? At the Senate House, specifically at the feet of the statue of Pompey. See the dramatic symbolism, the irony here. Pompey was at one time Caesar's closest ally. They were part of a triumvirate that ruled Rome. And at another point of time, during the civil war, Caesar defeats Pompey and vests all power in himself. We learn about the conspiracy. Brutus has been recruited as the moral figurehead. There are a total of 23 conspirators, but only few are named because Shakespeare limits himself to the powerful ones. They call themselves liberators or the liberators. And what did they believe? They believed that they were saving the Roman Republic. This scene is the most dramatic in the entire play. Caesar is assassinated. Private conspiracy becomes public catastrophe. Antony makes a dangerous move, trying to win over the conspirators, while at the same time attempting to ensure the public understands that Caesar was killed not for the good of the Republic, but for personal gain. What are the main events that we cover here? The soothsayer, he has been ignored again. Artemidorus' letter, Caesar doesn't take heed of it. The assassination itself, Metellus Cimber presents a petition. That is the signal to begin the assassination. There are 23 stab wounds on Caesar's body. Each person who planned the assassination has stabbed Caesar at least once. Antony's servant arrives before he does. Antony wants to know whether the conspirators intend to kill Antony also, just as they have dealt with Caesar. When he realizes that is not the case, he arrives and greets the conspirators himself. He shakes their bloody hands, thus inferring that he will become a part of the conspiracy. When they are gone, he bursts into a private soliloquy and he reveals to us his true plan for revenge. Why is the scene important then? It is the turning point of the entire play. Caesar's death signals the shift of power, but not in the way the conspirators intended. Antony's character transforms from a cheerful, loyal friend to a dangerous avenger. The seeds of civil war within the Roman Republic are planted here. Let us examine the place in this particular scene, inside and outside the Senate, the theater of Pompey in Rome. The 15th of March, 44 BC, the Ides of March. Who are the characters? Caesar, Brutus, Cassius, Casca, Antony, Metellus Cimber, Decius, Trebonius, the soothsayer, Populus, Lepidus, and the servant. What happens over here? Caesar arrives at the Senate. He dismisses the soothsayer. He doesn't take his warning seriously. Artemidorus hands Caesar a letter naming all the conspirators. Caesar puts it aside. Populus whispers to Cassius, wishing him all success in his conspiracy. The conspirators, they get panicked. Has our plan been leaked? They get so worried that they wonder whether they should carry it out. Metellus Cimber hands over the petition. Caesar is surrounded by the conspirators. And then, when he is dealing with their pleas, they proceed to stab him 23 times. Who is the person who strikes first? Casca. Who is the person whose stab hurts Caesar the most? Brutus. Caesar's last words, et tu Brute, and then falls at Pompey's statue. Antony runs away from the Senate. His servant returns with a message. Antony arrives again, shakes the hands of the conspirators. While he secretly plans revenge, he plans to speak at the funeral. Octavius, the nephew of Caesar, is near Rome. Civil war looms over the Republic. Lines 1 to 24. The Ides of March have come, said Caesar. The soothsayer replies, I, Caesar, but not gone. Very important quote. For Caesar, the danger is past. The soothsayer thinks differently. Artemidorus attempts to warn Caesar, handing him a letter, setting out the names of the conspirators. He begs Caesar, read it first. What does Caesar say? What touches us ourselves shall be last served. In other words, he refuses to read it, putting public good before his own personal safety. He believes that the petitions of the public matters before his own personal good. Populus whispers, I wish your enterprise today may thrive. Cassius is in a panic. Has the plot been discovered? Brutus stays calm. What does Populus do? Smiles at Caesar. It is obvious he has no plans of informing Caesar what is about to happen. But the tension is real. It shows how fragile, how nerve-wracking the conspiracy is, because the conspirators nearly abandon their plans. Lines 25 to 73. The conspirators approach Caesar, pleading on Metellisimba's behalf. He wants his brother to be brought back from exile. Does Caesar listen to them? No, he refuses. I would be well moved if I were as you. If I could pray to move, prayers would move me. In other words, he's telling them clearly that no matter what they say, he will not listen. And he compares himself to the North Star. I am as constant as the Northern Star, the one fixed, immovable element in the entire sky. This displays his extreme hubris. Caesar projecting himself as almost divine. The conspirators close in, forming a circle around him. Caesar is surrounded, but he doesn't realize his danger. Trebonius has drawn Antony aside and led him out of the Senate. Line 74 to 107 deals with the assassination himself, where Julius Caesar is murdered, the most pivotal moment in the entire play. Casca strikes first from behind. Speak hands for me. Every conspirator stabs Caesar. The last person to do so, Brutus. That is the moment Caesar breaks. He sees it as an ultimate betrayal. His friend, the person whom he pardoned, is one of the conspirators. Et tu, Brute? Then fall, Caesar. He slips to the floor of the Senate, but before dying he covers his face so that no one can see his agony, no one can see his death. The shock of Brutus's betrayal has been too much for him. Cinna shouts, liberty, freedom. Tyranny is dead. Brutus tries to calm him down. People and senators tries to tell everyone, don't worry, we have done this for the good of Rome. They bathe their hands and their swords in Caesar's blood, proclaiming to all their role in the conspiracy and that they have done something they are proud of. What does Brutus say? We shall be called perjurers, not murderers, because we have removed something bad from society. Antony has fled the Senate, but he doesn't give up. He sends his servant back to test the waters, so to speak. The servant comes to the conspirators and delivers a message from Antony, that Antony is willing to follow them if they can explain to him why they have done such a thing. Brutus allows Antony to come back. He promises him safe passage. He promises to hand over the body to him. He promises that Antony can speak at Caesar's funeral. Cassius tries to stop him, but Brutus is adamant. No, it shall be done. It shows us two things: the political will and the intelligence of Antony. He doesn't expose himself to danger until he knows it's completely safe. And how Brutus thinks. He is a very naive person. He doesn't realize that what he is doing, in effect, is setting the stage for his own downfall. Antony comes in. His confidence has been restored. He shakes their hands, accepts that he is a part of their conspiracy. He speaks admiringly of Caesar's wounds. Why? Because he has to gain their trust, their respect. But when he is alone, what does he say? Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth. In lines 254 to 275, the conspirators have gone, leaving Antony alone with the body. This is where he delivers his soliloquy. What are the key quotes in his speech? Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these butchers. He calls the conspirators butchers. He shows his true contempt. He was only pretending to be friendly while planning their downfall. He makes a prophecy, Caesar's spirit ranging for revenge, predicts domestic fury and fierce civil strife. What is the key quote? Cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war. It prophesies a civil war that will consume all of Rome. At this point, a servant arrives from Octavius Caesar. Antony sends word that Rome is dangerous, but still, you should come. Antony's plan? He's going to use the speech that he's going to make to the people to turn them against the conspirators. Then he will take Octavius and his armies and crush Brutus and Cassius. The transition from a man privately mourning the death of his close friend to that of a person who is going to avenge his death in the most brutal way possible is complete. Who are the characters here? Julius Caesar. The last time he appears in this play, he has been assassinated. What are his personality traits? He's an arrogant and self-deifying person. Compares himself to things like the North Star, which is almost divine. He's dangerously proud. 2 warnings are given to him by the soothsayer and Artemidorus, but he refuses to heed them. He doesn't believe in mercy. Metellisimba comes to him with a petition. He could have entertained it, but he rejects it out of hand. He is revealed as being ironically perceptive. He had identified Cassius as somebody who was dangerous, way back in Act 1, but now he is blind to his immediate danger. His most important line, Et tu, Brute. This has become one of the most important lines in the English language. We come to Marcus Brutus, our honorable but tragic hero. He's an honorable man, but pretty naive. He believes that what he has been doing is for the good of the Republic. He doesn't understand how he has been manipulated. He's a poor strategist. He makes 2 glaring mistakes. Not only does he spare Antony, but he allows him to speak at the funeral. He is extremely controlled under pressure. When Populus speaks, he doesn't get anxious. Instead, he calms the other conspirators and goes ahead with the conspiracy. He is morally conflicted. He calls himself and the others perjurers, not butchers. Why? He needs to justify what he is doing not to other people, but more to himself. He is overconfident in his own judgment. He overrules Cassius twice, and both times will prove to be his wrongdoing. He has two key quotes: "We shall be called purgers, not butchers." And "Our course will seem too bloody, Caius Cassius, to cut the head off and hack off the limbs." In other words, he feels by destroying Caesar, they have got rid of the immediate danger. He doesn't see Anthony as a truly dangerous person. Every decision that he makes will ultimately lead to his downfall, to the downfall of the Republic, of the conspiracy. Caius Cassius, the one who planned everything. He's strategically correct, but overruled. Wants Anthony to be killed, overruled. Doesn't want Anthony to speak, overruled again by Brutus. He's politically astute. He immediately understands how Anthony can be as an enemy, how we can change the dynamics. He is nervous under pressure. He panics when populace whispers. This reveals the anxiety that he shows behind a confident facade. He's subordinate to Brutus. Despite being the architect of the entire conspiracy, he defers to Brutus's moral authority. He quotes, "You know not what you do. Do not consent that Anthony speak in his funeral." Cassius puts it as plainly as possible. But again, unfortunately, he is overruled. This is the moment that decides the fate of the conspirators. "Cassius or Caesar shall never turn back, for I will slay myself." What is the significance? He shows his entire commitment. He is in the conspiracy totally. Win or lose, he is prepared to give up his own life. Cassius is revealed as a tragic figure. He sees disaster coming, but there is nothing that he can do to stop it. His own creature, his own creation, Brutus, is the one who sets his downfall in motion. Mark Antony, he was a loyal friend, a cheerful person. But now he will become an avenger for Caesar's death. What are the personality traits he possesses? He is a master of disguise. He accepts and forgives the conspiracy, all the while planning revenge behind everyone's back. He is emotionally intelligent. He uses his grief as a political tool. He understands how people can be moved. He is physically courageous. He returns to the Senate alone, knowing he is going to be outnumbered by people, knowing that if they turn on him, he will face certain death. He is strategically brilliant. He secures permission to speak at the funeral, thus enabling him to turn the people against the conspirators. Passionately loyal. His grief and his loyalty towards Caesar are very strong, and it is genuine. Thus, his performance becomes even more powerful. When he is left alone in his soliloquy, how does he speak about Caesar? "Pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth." Anthony prophesies total war. "Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war." And he ensures that it happens. This scene actually belongs to Anthony. He has managed to fool the conspirators. He has secured the funeral speech, and his plan for revenge will be set in motion. There are minor characters here also. Metellus Cimber, who presents the petition that will distract Caesar while he is being killed. Artemidorus, whose warning is again ignored. The soothsayer, he is given warning after warning, and once again, Caesar is not going to listen to us. Populus Lena, who alarms the conspirators. They think the plot has been discovered, but he stands with them. He does not expose them to Caesar. Casca, the person who strikes first. He takes the most cowardly position. He is blunt to the point of being brutal, and this contrasts with Brutus's nobility. What are the literary devices that have been used by Shakespeare? Dramatic irony, the way Caesar says, "The Northern Star," his speech. He boasts of being immovable seconds before he is stabbed. We, the audience, knows what Caesar does not. Foreshadowing, the soothsayer says very clearly, "The Ides of March have not gone." Antony's "Cry havoc." Soliloquy predicts civil war. Metaphor, the Northern Star presents Caesar as fixed, immovable in the firmament, almost divine. Allusion, Ate, the Greek goddess of reckless destruction, with Ate by his side come hot from hell. Apostrophe, where Anthony addresses Caesar's body directly. Caesar cannot hear, but yet he speaks to him as if he is a living person. "Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth." Symbolism, Caesar falling at some Pompey's statue. His rival watches over his death. The power cycle of Rome is complete. Irony, the conspirators wash their hands in Caesar's blood to show how pure they were, how much they thought of the Republic, but actually makes them look more murderous. Personification, cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. War is personified as a creature, a beast, a dog. Simile, as rushing out of doors to be resolved, if Brutus so kindly knocked. Caesar's ghost speaking metaphorically. Soliloquy, Antony's speech to Caesar's body. It reveals his innermost true feelings, tells us, the audience, what he is actually thinking, while the conspirators have been deceived completely. Et tu brute, a Latin phrase. It has come to personify ultimate betrayal, a short sentence for the maximum impact. Repetition. Caesar is repeated throughout. The name becomes both a symbol and an absence. What are the themes Caesar covers here? Betrayal and loyalty. Caesar ultimately falls and dies of shock. Brutus's betrayal has shaken him to his core. You can contrast this with Antony's absolute loyalty to Caesar. Faith versus free will. Caesar had multiple warnings given to him, but he took advantage of none of them. Appearance versus reality. Anthony appears to accept the conspiracy, but he is already planning the downfall of the conspirators. Caesar appears all powerful, then he is killed so mercilessly. Ambition and its consequences. Caesar's refusal to bend, making himself as constant as a North Star, causes the conspirators to act. Ambition becomes self-destructive. The power of rhetoric. Anthony's performance in this particular scene, he mixes grief with rhetoric, gets him everything he desires, gets Brutus to forgive him, gets Brutus to allow him to speak at Caesar's funeral. Order versus chaos. The assassination is meant to restore the Republic to its true values. Instead, it slips into the very chaos that they had tried to avoid. Honor and justification. Brutus always insisting that what they are doing is for the greater good of Rome, but the reality, they are basically attacking an unarmed man, butchering him. The irony is visible to us as the audience. Hubris, destructive pride. Caesar's boast that he is like the Northern Star is his fatal flaw. His refusal to listen to people who care for him, who give him warnings, matters because it seals his death. As before, I have given you an exhaustive vocabulary list. Please go over it. If there are some words that you find difficult to understand, you can look at them in the passage and then refer to the list I have posted. I have identified key passages from the text for you. I have given you who the speaker is, the context in which it is spoken, and the actual meaning of that passage. Please do pause the video and refer to them while going through your book. I have also provided you some questions and answers for revision, extract-based questions, context-based questions, long answer as well as short answer questions. Do go over them and you'll be prepared for anything that you might find in the examination. Pause the video and take a look at them. The answer keys are provided below in case you face any difficulties. Finally, let us give you some exam tips. What do examiners look for? Specifically, the Northern Star speech, which reveals Caesar's hubris. Et tu, Brute, the single most important line, showing how betrayal kills Caesar. Brutus allowing Anthony to speak. Why did he not listen to Cassius? Anthony's dual performance, appearing to align with the conspirators' motives, while at the same time planning his revenge for the assassination of Caesar. Caesar's ignored warnings, the soothsayer, Artemidorus, both failed. Faith versus free will. Which is inevitable? Why was this supposed to happen? Could it not have been changed? Always link certain things to themes. Et tu, Brute is betrayal. Appearance versus reality, Anthony's performance versus what he actually thinks. Hubris, the Northern Star. Faith, the soothsayer, as well as Artemidorus' warning. Power of rhetoric, or the ability to speak very well. Anthony wins everything through his performance. That's the scene there for you then. I do hope I have been of help. If I have, do remember to like, subscribe and share. Remember, there would be others who would be requiring our help. Thank you so much for watching.